AWAKEN Catholic show. I am your host, Nick De La Torre, and I am joined today by a man that I got to know here at the conference. His name is Father Valdemar, he whose name shall not be spoken. I'm kidding. It's Valdemar. He's been going by Father V.
Yes.
Even though it's technically a W, right?
Technically.
But the sound is certainly a V. Father Valdemar is such a cool guy. There's a lot to him. He is a rock legend. The man can shred some guitar. He's done a lot of cool stuff in his life, a lot of recording, and he still actively does that. We're going to get into his music. We're going to get into his ministry, and even his history. He was born in Poland, worked in Sweden. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Anything I got wrong there, we'll fix when we're talking now.
Yeah, the shredding you got wrong.
No,
on the guitar.
I don't believe you.
Playing guitar, but shredding. Eddie Van Halen is a shredding guitar person, not me.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. All of that is coming up right after this. Welcome, everyone, to the AWAKEN Catholic show. I am your host, Nick De La Torre, and I couldn't be more excited to be with you today. And being with you today and being here at the MOMENTUM’21 conference with the Catholic Marketing Network is only made possible by our sponsors, Select International Tours. Select International Tours is the premium #1 pilgrimage company here in the United States of America. And I am thrilled that we have partnered with them to put together pilgrimages such as the one we have later this year to Paris, to Lourdes, to the Holy Land. If you want to learn more about the pilgrimages that we're doing with them, visit selectinternationaltours.com/awaken. And by going there, you can also easily find other pilgrimages that are running through Select from fellow content creators, speakers, authors. Select is an incredible company filled with amazing people that work there and work with them. selectinternationaltours.com/awaken. Thank you, Select, for sponsoring this episode and our trip here to the MOMENTUM’21 conference with Catholic Marketing Network. Father V. Valdemar.
Here I am.
Here you are. Thank you for not finishing that, because I am not your Lord.
Sounds very dark.
So, Father, you have become one of the most interesting people I have ever met in my life. Kevin and I have both been enamored by you, your wisdom, your approach to communication, which is very European and very exciting, because you never know quite what you're going to say, and it really is thrilling.
It's hard to believe what's going to come out, right?
Yeah. One of my favorite moments was last night. There was, after we had dinner, there was this woman that we were talking to, and she was like, because right now you're in Florida, you're a priest in the Orlando diocese, and this woman got all excited, like, oh, I have friends in Florida, and without missing a beat, you were just like, everybody has friends.
Exactly.
And Kevin and I were just remembering that last night in our hotel room. We were just dying laughing. It was so great. But you've been a hoot. You've been a blessing in conversations that Kevin and I have had with you, and some of the conversations that we're having around the table last night. You have this profound insight into the human person, society. You come from Poland. You have had direct contact with communism, and it's affected your family very directly. You have like so many profound stories, and you are a rocking priest legend.
Okay.
The coolness does not stop with you.
Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you. I'm going to take it as a compliment. Right?
As you should. You should. So, Father, where should we begin? Maybe let's talk about your music. And so you were contacted and invited to come here as an opportunity to talk about and sell your music. So let's talk about your music.
Well, not really to sell my music. I was invited more like, to be, because I'm staying in a, hidden, let's say that way a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not looking for a promotion. I always thought that, God-given talents I don't want to push them by advertising myself.
Okay.
I want to do it more humble way, which is, it's just using those talents in my evangelization, and then if someone connects with me, then and then another person, then let's say I want people to join the family of Jesus Christ, not the fan club of Father V.
I love that. So it's like the music is an entry point that might encourage someone to look further and begin a
Yes,
journey.
I
Yes.
was approached many, many times in what I'm doing, by many, many publisher companies that wanted, let's say, to make of me a big person. And I'm a little bit like,
Well, objectively, you're a big person. You're very tall. You're very Europeanly tall.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I want to stay that way.
Well, there you go.
So that was my approach. I don't want to, to shine. I really want to be a tool, but still in God's hands, using my talents. And it's a difficult thing to do because, believe me, it's to stay humble in what I'm doing. It takes a lot of work because the suggestions how big I could become are coming every day from all over the world.
Yeah, I totally get that because you are very talented. Just objectively, I remember when you on the first night that we were here, and you introduced yourself to Kevin and I here at our booth, and you showed us some of your music, and it was like, man, this is some great rock music.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and so I think is what you were showing us, because I didn't get to see the screen because I was setting up the equipment, but were those videos of you performing live, or were they music videos?
Well, there are so many things I have to tell you, and across 20.
I want to
this
hear
year,
all of those things.
25 years of my priesthood. It's next year is going to be 25 years. It has been so many things that I've got involved musically, artistically, poetically, into so many things with so many even big names, big stars, that it's just it's just time to sit down and write the book about this, somehow to collect all this so I can even remember what really happened, because I forget a lot of things what really happened, that commercial way a little bit in my life. But I open my computer, I go through my photo albums, and then I say, oh my goodness, that happened 15 years ago. I almost forgot about that. It's so many things to say, what the projects that I accomplished in my life that even they slip out my mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so you've been a priest for 25 years.
Next year is going to be 25 years.
Next year is 25, and you're 51 right now.
Yes.
And so you've been a priest almost literally half of your life.
Yes.
That's wild.
Isn't that amazing?
That's so wild. I'm
It is.
personally very excited for the day that my wife and I have been married longer than we haven't been married. Because it already feels like I can barely imagine not being married to her, and how did I exist when we weren't married? And I'm sure that in the priesthood it's similar. Like you clearly have a passion for the work that you do and the ministry that you do.
It's a great vocation. I mean, it's like I'm 100% in it. I'm a little bit, probably, and a lot of people see me a little bit different than any other priest, but I always liked the rock and roll music, the rock music, and I was. At seminary, I was still thinking, why me? Why that vocation came to me? And then I realized, although I don't have a history of, smoking, drinking, or drugs, completely clean in that area, then as a young person, teenager, I never tried those things. Those things were always scaring me. So when I actually got the vocation, went to the seminary, the only obstacle with me thinking about me being a future priest was the rock music and the circle of friends that were also rockers, and then I just figure out that my vocation is to be sent back to where I came from and evangelize. I'm sorry.
Father wants an apple?
Yes.
Let's get
Both,
Father an
actually,
apple.
an apple and the other fruit.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Now, there's this team of women that have been walking around with this cart all week, and they're just bringing snacks and goodies to the expedition.
Thank you.
Expedition? What are we calling this? I'm Cuban, so English words come hard to me. What is it? Expo. Thank you. Good Lord. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
So I figure out, going back to our subject, that I was taken from that group of people, and I supposed to return to them after my ordination and just be there for them.
Wow.
And it works because it's. I always and I said this many times. It's very easy to find a priest who are musicians and form a band, for example, and make the record. It's really easy because a lot of us have talents, and you just put the band together and you can do it. But it's much harder to somehow get the credit of trust in
Oh,
a world of big musicians,
yeah.
within the stars or lay people, and then say, let's do something together. It's a challenge for me as a priest. It's a challenge for them. Because some of them may think making music with a priest, maybe that's going to ruin my career, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I can think the same way. Making a music with, crazy rocker can mess up my priesthood,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I am interested too in maybe I'm wondering how much of an untapped world of Catholic rockers there might be that are on par with what you might be interested in working with. So one person that comes to mind for me is there's an artist that is Canadian, and I think she might have moved to the United States. Her name is Leah. Um, she's a female vocalist, and she is very talented. And she is, I speculate that she's Catholic because on some of her older music, she makes these rock renditions of beautiful ancient hymns that are Catholic. And now since then, it's less so, but she's so talented, and I think it could be such an interesting thing for you guys to collaborate.
There is a lot of artists, a few, or let's say maybe not a lot, but a few artists all over the world that actually are having that approach.
Yeah.
Again, it's beautiful to listen a choir of the priests, a choir of nuns, singing, making re-editions of the beautiful even Gregorian chants or some church music, but it's completely different to really take something classic,
Yeah.
all the church, and make a new sound.
Yes.
And mostly we know why we need this, because it's so hard to attract kids and teenagers through all the songs. If someone learned this at home, then yes. But if kids had rock and roll parents,
Yeah.
then it's very hard. You have to then find someone that has the same approach, someone in the
Yeah.
church, within the church, that is like, oh, look at that priest. He's a little rocker. Let's check what he can do.
Yeah, and your stuff is awesome. Yeah, your guitar playing sounded amazing on those recordings. So show us some of your music here.
Well, let's start with the oldest one. So
All right.
oldest, like
You can hold it
what
up
I
to that
have
camera
here.
on the left.
That camera. Okay, that's a Christmas CD that I recorded with Rica Monaco, artist from Florida. Rica is like he's playing his shows from time to time with Sammy Hagar from Van Halen, and I recorded that record with him, that CD. It's also interesting approach because there are classics here in the rock and roll versions, but we decided to do classics like American classics and European classics and make a rock and roll sound. So
Interesting.
it is interesting, and it's alternated. The songs are like two songs, one song, and then there is 15, 20 seconds to 1 minute of me having a little reciting part of taking the extractions from my homily, basically.
Oh, wow.
So the songs are, there is a song, and then there is some kind of, couple of half of a minute or a minute extraction from my Christmas homilies that I preached during my years here in the United States. And that became kind of, interesting thing, because the first reaction when I came up with this idea, when we sent a music after we were done with recording to the guy in Miami that was doing the mixing for us, he said, listen guys, this is the best Christmas retreat I ever had in my life.
That's
Really,
awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Mixing this, listening to those stories and those songs was really the best Christmas retreat I had.
I love
in
that.
my
I
life.
didn't know until you said it right now that you were integrating messages from your homilies into the music. That's so cool.
People don't, I mean, you see it, I can show it, the titles, here that are red, that's the songs. The green, that's the extracts from my homilies.
Very cool. What else you got?
Now let's go back to let's Tracy Coriel. That's my meditation. Love that song. Very, very nice song. Not my first working with Tracy Coriel. Tracy Coriel is a wife of a widow right now of one of the best jazz guitar players in the world, Larry Coriel, called the godfather of fusion in the jazz music. And
Ooh.
yes, great musician. And Tracy was, recording. It's a great story how I actually met Tracy, because that was not me looking for Tracy, but Tracy looking for me. Tracy was recording her song Cinderella, and she was looking for some kind of priest figure for the video clip, and it would be easy, right? To if you're in need of a priest figure for your video clip, to just dress
Right.
up a lay person in a color and have some kind of like acting role in your video clip. So I think it was her dad that said, well, why we live in the United States, why not find kind of like a real priest? It must be some kind of rock and roll priest in United States. And that's how they found me.
That's awesome.
Then Tracy came to my parish, didn't introduce herself, just wanted to see my sermon, wanted to see how, if I exist, if I really exist. And then, yes, she figured out I do exist.
Yeah.
Then a couple of weeks after that, I got a letter from Tracy, and she introduced herself, told me that story, told me that she came to my parish to see if I really exist. And we ended up basically, half of the video clip to Cinderella song was recorded in my church.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very nice, very nice shots.
Yeah. So is this stuff available like on Spotify and?
Yes, they are available on Spotify, on iTunes. On this one even has a video clip, so it's even
awesome.
available on YouTube.
Yeah. Very cool.
Another song made with Tracy Coriel is a Master Key.
Okay.
It's a very, very, I would say, a little ballad, very, very nice song. As a priest, a lot of couples, young couples, come to me, and they sense that the problems with marriage begins. There's some kind of disagreements going on, and they don't want wait any longer, so they come to some kind of advice. And my conversations with them basically inspired me to write the lyrics to that song, Master Key. Because
That's
a
awesome.
Master Key is a title, that title represents that in that relationship, in that love story of yours as a couple, you have to find the master key, and it's gonna open every door for you to make that marriage successful.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't realize when you were talking to us about your music the other day that it was so steeped in meaning. Like I just knew.
Oh yeah, it is. Every lyric actually that I write to my songs, to those songs, it's based on my experience as a priest.
That's amazing.
Yeah, let's go to another one, Higher Aims. This is the song that I actually made to two movies, one British movie and one American movie. The American movie didn't. It's in the making right now. The British movie is already out. Somewhere probably available on Netflix maybe, or Amazon Prime. I don't know all those platforms. And Higher Aims was basically a song that when you read the lyrics, when I was writing those lyrics, is we live in a world that is really messed up, and we go for easy ways. Messed up.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it is.
I'm kidding. It's very obvious.
Yes, exactly. So so it's song about, could we really swallow our pride? That's exactly a lyric from the chorus.
Beautiful.
Could we really swallow our pride to set the higher aims?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God, we pray we can.
And then another one, it's a song, Deep Faith Groove, made with a band Scream. And that song also made it to the movie. The movie called the movie called Deal Breaker. Movie's coming out in November, and this lyric it's also based on this lyric is based, I have to tell you, on a story of I was for 7 years a chaplain for the prison ministry, and this is a cry of people in a prison or before they got to prison or when they found they are guilty. It's a fight between a good and evil, how confused people get. Like, I can quote only, let's say that this lyric is basically saying, avoid all the lies, run away from them, but be aware that they exist, and just make your faith deep. You have to have a channel. This is why I put the groove word in that title. You have to every day make your faith deeper. We need that deep faith groove.
I totally agree. And is it indeed a groovy song?
It is a groovy song.
Very excited to check that and the other songs out that we talked about. And as a rocker myself, I couldn't be more thrilled that you just exist, truly.
Yes.
And so I wanted to ask you, because we've had so many profound conversations in the last couple of days. I'm so curious. I want to kind of share your viewpoints. What would you say is the biggest? What would you say is the biggest challenge we're facing right now as a society?
I think the biggest challenge, of all my knowledge and what I read, what I see, is that we still don't take our lives seriously enough to know that evil exists. We are still kind of like, trying to be nice to each other, but I see this from the distance sometimes, like this is just the game. This is just the appearance. And why I'm telling this, because I see people on a daily basis that are extremely nice. And then when they know I don't see them, when I go somewhere to the store and I observe them, they're completely different people.
Interesting.
Completely different people. And I think, and people are so fragile also. Everything is run by emotions.
Yes.
And that's not how it's supposed to be. The emotions cannot control your life.
Yeah, that's ultimately a lack of virtue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The wisdom, the knowledge, your brain should be the one that is responsible for your actions, not emotions.
Yes, that's beautiful.
And this is exactly what I see is going on, in the world.
What would you say is then, if that's one of the biggest problems you see, what would you say is a step in the right direction or a solution to that problem?
Well, it's always going to be the relationship with God, not, I believe He exists. That's a very simple statement. And in our world right now, we can't just, I acknowledge God exists. No. That's not enough.
Right.
You have to have a relationship with God. It's very, very important to have a relationship. Sometimes when I hear people saying, well, I believe in God, it sounds like, okay, you want me to acknowledge that you are a believer, a good person. No, that's not. That's nothing everyone really can say.
Right.
And evil is everywhere.
Yeah.
Evil is the biggest manipulator. People think that being just nice, which that word almost means nothing to me, it's an empty word without actions. That just presenting myself as a nice person, I'm going to make the world better. No, it is not, because it's very easy to be nice when someone is nice to you.
Yes.
What do we do? How we react when we have to face our own weaknesses, our own problems, when someone else points our weaknesses, when someone is challenging us, when life even is challenging us with the difficulties.
Yes.
People change completely their appearances after facing challenges like that. they are
Yes.
not that nice anymore, because being nice to someone who's nice to you, it's very, very easy. The biggest challenge is when we face the difficulties on any possible
and
level.
that's where we have to hope that in that relationship with God, that we will conform our hearts ultimately and allow Him to transform us.
Can we take a break?
Can we take a break? Sure. Oh, you can come up. That's fine.
What's going on?
But I have to run to the restroom, and I was supposed to meet somebody at lunch,
Okay.
so I didn't know how long you'd be. But they loved your stuff.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome.
Also, you sold too?
Somebody bought some CDs from
Okay,
Father
thank
V.
you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Loved it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Rock
Thank
on.
you.
Larry, did you talk to Kevin?
I did.
Are we going to do this?
Yeah, but it's gonna be really short.
That's fine. That's fine.
The last 2 days.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I'll be back there.
Yeah, but I'm gonna run to the restroom.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Nobody's there.
Okay, thank you.
So Larry is from the the company that makes Brother Francis. If you don't know that kid's cartoon, you should check it out. Anyways, so Father, we were saying we were talking about being transformed in that relationship with God. Yeah, and I wish we had more time to get into like your family history and all the different places that you have spent time in your life, because there is so much valuable
I know,
story
right?
there.
But again, what we were talking about, because it's also very important to
Yes.
me. I have experience from my relationship with God that is helping me a lot. You know, I'm sometimes, and I'm sorry if that's going to sound maybe too bad, but sometimes when I see people that are talking about Jesus the way that he's almost like, you know, not the God man with masculinity, that it's kind of like a, you know, like sweet
Yes.
kind of guy.
It's a neutered
and
version
there
of
is a
God.
purpose why I
Yes.
say sweet kind of guy.
Yeah.
I reject that image of Christ. It cannot be. Nobody decides to die for humankind being that kind of person. You have to be 100% man and God man
Yes.
with that kind of masculine character,
That is so
godly
profound.
masculine character.
That's
yeah.
so profound, and it's so needed, because we have a tendency to mold who Jesus is to whatever makes things easier for us, and our preferences, and that's not right.
Like, the biggest mistake is to make him too sweet.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah, absolutely.
I
That's
would
awesome.
love to see, I would love to see Jesus being upset. Listen, being upset, being angry can have a version of being also holy, because there
Yes.
is a reason. These are even psychological explanations for it.
Mm-hmm.
When you raise your voice because it's needed, It's a holy anger. It's like he throw upside down the tables.
Yeah.
It's a purpose for it.
Yes.
And it works for humankind, because if you see someone doing something like this, that image stacks with you. And if
Yeah.
you get this message right, then you say, God did this. There was a purpose for it. There was something wrong going
Yes.
on around, and I have to figure out what was wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's so important. Jesus, the man. I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of another man, are you familiar? There was this priest that came out of Poland and also kind of went through the communism stuff, and he ended up actually making a pretty big difference in the communism in Poland. His name was Karol Wojtyła. Are you a fan?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah. For those of you watching or listening, Karol Wojtyła would become Pope St. John Paul II.
Oh, what a news!
Spoiler.
Spoiler, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Of course I know.
Yeah, obviously, I was being
Just
silly.
in case if someone don't
Yeah.
get the joke.
Father V didn't know who Karol Wojtyła was?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, so Father V, it's been such a pleasure to get to know you here. I hope that we stay in contact with each other. If I'm ever in the Orlando area, I definitely want to connect with you again.
Yes, you're welcome to visit me even in a parish.
It would be a pleasure.
You'll be surprised.
And if you're ever in Northwest Ohio, please reach out to us.
Where is that?
North.
Where is
That's
it?
awesome. No, seriously, where is it?
Seriously, where is it?
In Ohio, towards the northwest.
Oh, it's in the United States.
Well, you don't know where Ohio is?
I know. I've been in Ohio a few
Oh
times.
my gosh. I love it. All right, Father. Well, thanks for being here on the Awaken Catholic Show. Thanks for the man that you are, your authenticity, your art, your priesthood, and everything that you're doing to build up the kingdom and bring people into the heart of Christ.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to all watching. Get the real Christ
The real
into
Christ.
into your heart. Don't mess up with him. Let him mess up with you. He's doing this for a purpose.
Yeah, that's great. Where can people find you? Do you have a website?
Yes, they can find me on Facebook by Father V Art and St. Lawrence Church, Bushnell, Florida.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. We'll put that stuff in the description, the video show notes, or the episode show notes. And to everyone watching, thank you for joining us on the live stream or watching or listening to the recording. And before we go, we got to address one thing. This episode was made possible by Select International Tours. And if you are interested in learning more about the pilgrimages we're going on in partnership with them, or any of the other pilgrimages that the other podcasters and speakers and authors are going on, visit selectinternationaltours.com/awaken. Before you go, you just need to know that Jesus loves you.
Hey, right behind you, I don't know if you know, it's Karol Wojtyła shaving.
I did know. I made that. I'm not sure if you knew this, but
He's shaving.
yes, he's
I
the
mean,
man.
is he next for interview?
I would.
And he didn't come prepared.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't ready for this. I was shaving.
Exactly.
Man, I would love an interview with that guy.
Yeah, right.
Who knows? One day.
Okay.
One day.
thanks.
All right. God bless you, everybody.